ni vile tu it takes time. But from our assessment, will it disconnect again? Seems to be okay now. If it remains in that position. Let's not, but I'm preparing this in readiness if we are ready in case we interchange to immediately. It depends on the session, yeah. At what time do we kick off? We start at 2 exactly.
No, I'm not related to that guy.
So we'll just use as it is. So you'll cue me.
Don't worry, it's not going to be a very technical discussion. So the way we're going to
You've got me feeling things that I can't explain.
You don't need this.
I think I'm falling for you just a little. Hata kama ni mara ya kwanza sisi kuonana, usiogope nipe macho yako ana kwa ana. Hata kama ni mara ya kwanza sisi kuonana, usiogope nipe macho yako ana kwa ana. Ngoma zalia na mimi nataka kucheza, kucha kutwa nishazoea kesha, sakata rumba, achilia presha, tutacheza hata kama tuna pesa. Ngoma zalia na mimi nataka kucheza, kucha kutwa nishazoea kesha, sakata rumba, achilia presha, hatujui kama tutaonana tena. Vunja mifupa, kaza mshipi na tuzikwende, tukizunguka kaende teremka, kata kiuno jionyeshe, inuka ngoma zalia na mimi nataka kucheza, kucha kutwa nishazoea kesha, sakata rumba, achilia presha, tutacheza hata kama tuna pesa. Ngoma zalia na mimi nataka
and I'm going to be taking you through Oracle data security. So first we'll start with
One, two, testing. A very good afternoon, Enterprise Business Unit. What I do on a daily basis is to understand our enterprise customers' requirement from your business challenges perspective as I look inward or outward for solutions. So today, we have an interesting topic that we are going to share together, and the topic is about steps in the journey towards digitizing your business. Before I dive into the topic of today, let me appreciate the theme for the session. Who has an idea of the theme of the session? Reimagining digital and technology for a better tomorrow. When I got hold of this theme, it got me thinking about what it all means. And I decided to decipher it so that it can make sense to, all of us in attendance. If you look at it, imagining or reimagining digital technology for a better tomorrow, this reminds me of a quote by one of the America's management consultant called Gary Hamel. So what did Gary Hamel state? So Gary Hamel stated that companies fail to create the future not because they fail to predict it, but because they fail to imagine it. So if you look at that statement, company fails to create the future not because they fail to predict it, but because they fail to imagine it. So if I look at the theme for this session about reimagining digital technology for a better tomorrow, what this means, if we can't imagine, if we can't think about our future and try to create it through imagination, then we may not realize it, or we may never realize a better tomorrow. And let me give you some bit of tips in terms of how you can ensure you're keeping on reimagining digital and technology for a better tomorrow. It means you need to have a sense or a mind of creativity. You need to have a mind of curiosity, hence begin to imagine and begin to create the future. And digital and technology is purely an enabler, which enables you to accelerate how you can create this future for a better tomorrow. Let me give you some few questions which I need you to answer at the end of the session. So there'll be an exam at the end of the session. Let me give 5 or 4 questions which I need to be addressed. The moment I'm done with this, I'll go around the room to get to know the answers for these 4 questions, as well as I'll be looking forward for you also to ask me a couple of other questions. Question number 1, is legacy experiences inhibiting your organizational ability to transform and innovate? That is question number 1. Is legacy experiences inhibiting your organization ability to transform and innovate? The second question, is legacy processes in your organization inhibiting your organizational ability to transform and innovate? The third question is legacy mindset inhibiting your organization ability to transform and innovate? And the fourth question is legacy culture inhibiting your organizational ability to transform and innovate? You can collapse those 4 questions into one by asking yourself, is legacy experiences, processes, mindset, or culture inhibiting your organizational ability to transform and innovate? So today, as far as the session is concerned, let me give you a background of what I'll be sharing. So we'll start with the digital evolution. I'll give you some background, preamble to the digital evolution. I'll try to define a couple of terminologies to ensure I empower you before we dive into the digital evolution, to enable you to appreciate and understand the pace of technology changes. Then the second agenda will be the level of digital maturity, or the level of digital transformation maturity. This is purely to ensure you can gauge your organization across the 4 levels. Where does your organization falls? And then the third agenda, which is now directly into the agenda of today, which is the steps in the journey towards digitizing your business. So kind of I'm giving you a background before we go into the steps. If I dived straight into the steps, perhaps a couple of you will be getting lost. And then finally, also I'll give you a snippet, just a minute or two, how Safaricom can help you in your digital transformation agenda. Is that clear? We can kick off? Great. Good. So the term digital has got so many uses, or people use the term digital in so many ways. But what does digital really mean? So there are a couple of terminologies which inherit the word digital, which we are going to define today. The first terminology is digitization, right? The second terminology is digitalization. And the third terminology is digital transformation. Rarely do we find people get to understand the difference between these three terminologies. Most of the time we find they're being used interchangeably. But today, you have the opportunity to appreciate and understand how each and every terminology means and how you can begin to be using this terminology in your daily conversation. So let's start with the word digitization. Great. So digitization is purely conversion of analog or physical information into digital format. A good example to use, we all predominantly have been accustomed to newspapers from Standard, from Nation, in their physical form. But today, the same organizations have a digital version of the same, have a soft version of the same. So that conversion of that physical paper into a digital format, now that is digitization. Is that clear? Great. The second terminology, which is digitalization. So digitalization is the use of digital technologies to enable or improve business models and processes. What do this mean? If I'm to build up on top of the story of Standard and Nation, as far as the physical paper being converted and digitized in a soft format, now how does digitization or how does use of digital technologies enable or improve a business model or process? Today you can go to those organizations, Standard or Nation Media, they have their applications, or you can go to their website. Today even you can go to my Safaricom application for you to procure the same magazine or the same newspapers in a digital form. Now, so it means digitization purely enables a business process or a model by use of digital technologies. Clear on that as in relations to the example that I've given? The key to note as far as digitization is concerned, it also leverages on the digital data and analytics, bottom line to increase usability, as well as to drive subscription. So the reason as why Nation or Standard have gone into the digital front through use of digital technologies, the more they sell to you, the more they're able to track subscription. The more you log in into their platform, the more they can use the data to mine and produce some interesting insights and leverage on that data for other business processes. The interesting third terminology is digital transformation, right? Now, digital transformation, it will be our core of today's session. Because if you look at the agenda steps, which you can use to digitize your business, ideally, any conversation about digitizing your business is directly related to digital transformation. So what is digital transformation? So digital transformation is coordinated change effort at scale, diffused through all aspects of the business. So it means digital transformation has nothing to do with technology. Is that clear? Because it's coordinated change effort at scale, diffused across all aspects of the business. So digital technology goes beyond, digital transformation goes beyond technology. It touches on people, it touches on processes, it touches on technology to some extent, and some bit of, as well as it touches on metrics. So the goal is to bring meaningful business outcomes in an organization. Let me use an example also to enable you to understand what digital transformation is all about. Let me use an example of my company. So today, we all know that Safaricom is on a journey to transition from being a telco to a technology company. Now, if you look at that strategy, has got a lot to do with digital transformation. If you look at that conversation, has nothing to do with technology. It has got to do with a lot of conversation happening inside, including processes, including people, including culture, and I believe you have seen even including mindset. You have heard about Safaricom adopting Agile framework within the organization. So Agile is a way to transition people and to change the people's mindset so that you can achieve your digital transformation agenda. So digital transformation, if you forget anything, remember digital transformation is not about technology. Has got a broad conversation to do with people, processes, culture, innovation, and metrics. Great. Now, to enable you appreciate the change in the technology landscape and how your organization needs also to focus on appreciating these changes and ask yourself, are you prepared to meet your next competitor? How flexible are you to employ this digital technology or digital transformation agenda to ensure you are not out of business in the near future? Let me use an example. So I don't know whether most of you know or appreciate an organization which was called Circuit City. So I'll use Circuit City to enable you appreciate the pace of change in the digital evolution. So Circuit City is one of the organizations in US in the years 1980s, which was one of the companies which had revolutionized customer experience. It was well known for, if you need to procure and buy any digital item, then you simply walk into Circuit City stores. They were heavily positioned across different corners of America, meaning the moment you need a device, then you knew you just walk around the corner and you'll get Circuit City. Circuit City, interesting, it was also featured by the year 2001. It was featured by one of the writers called Jim Collins in his book called Good to Great, because he wanted to highlight some of the best practices Circuit City had employed in the company and how other organizations like yourself then should kind of emulate because of how successful they were. So that was Circuit City, in brief. Sad to note is, in the year 2000, this company came in. I believe now you can begin to connect why Circuit City and Amazon. You can anticipate the story after this. So in the years 2000, Amazon entered the market as a consumer electronic organization. Interesting to note is Circuit City was not able to catch the digital train. Because what happens with Amazon? You could go online, or this was an organization with no store, right, who knew our preferences better than Circuit City. Circuit City had physical stores. They knew by fact that you have multiple physical stores, the more you walk into that stores, that's how you can be able to interact and know your customer. Amazon came in with zero store, online presence, and they're able to know our preferences. You go online, you're searching for item A, you're given even recommendation of things you might even require in future, or things that you can really complement the product that you are using, anticipating your future, anticipating what you require to procure. So seemingly out of nowhere, there was this retailer with no store, no easy way to speak with us, but they had that personal understanding. They had that personal understanding of our preferences. In fact, when it came to Circuit City, within a period, I think 8 or 9 years, Circuit City, remember, it was featured in the book Good to Great. So it transitioned from being good to great to gone within a period of 9 years after Amazon checked in. So it is interesting to note that to date, customers have been spoiled. Who have spoiled them? It started in this era. Because customers have been spoiled, so it means customers today expect each and every organizations, even organizations that we come from, to deliver product and services more swiftly, seamless user experience, and more importantly, even to know our preferences. Or customers expect your organizations to know your customers' preferences. I can use an example also to quantify some of the expectations of today's customers. Customers want to log in online into your tool, into your application, into your website. They want to see the information in real time. They want to see the account status or usage in real time. They don't want to be told, I'll be sharing a report tomorrow or in the near future. If you come from a banking industry, they want loans to be pre-approved or approved in minutes. Interesting to note is that they expect each and every service provider in the room like yourself to have automated access to all information or data which they provided during their initial interface with you. And they don't want to be asked the same information over and over again. That is a typical customer of today. Now, interesting, many organizations like yourself, you might not be able to meet these new expectations because they might be demanding to you as a business, or they might be looking a bit complex. And as a result, the sad thing to note is if you are complacent, does not mean the customer will not get a preference or will not get an alternative in the market. Today we have some startups or what we call some digital native organizations who come in and disrupt the market. And you can easily fall from being good to great to gone if you're not careful. You might be saying that, okay, as an organization, I was born in the digital era. Maybe your product and services are online. And maybe you are saying, I cannot relate with these two guys. Sad to note is that in the digital economy which we are in, the race is usually often won by imitators, who usually tends to be more agile, more creative than even the more successfully fast movers. And I can even give you examples to that. Was Facebook the first organizations to offer social media services? No, there was somebody, right? Uber was the first organizations to offer taxi hailing services. Do you know that there are some markets where Uber does not exist because of other imitators? Let me call them imitators. Even locally in Kenya, we have so many imitators because the origin of the idea was Uber. But now imitators today tends to be more successfully than the initial first mover in the market. So you need to ask yourself, in your organization, at what position are you at? Do you keep on reinventing and innovating around your business model to ensure you don't move again from good to great, and then maybe finally to gone? Now, digital transformation requires 4 things. If you are to be successfully in your business as far as digital transformation, then keep note of these 4 things. Number 1, culture. So you need to digitize your culture. How do you hire your staff today? Do you hire staff because they have a paper? Do you hire staff because they're your friend? Do you hire staff because they are referred to you? You need to hire staff and encourage your existing staff to continuously learn, to continuously appreciate new technologies. Remember, new technologies and technique emerges faster than in the past. The technology that one is comfortable today may be obsolete tomorrow. That is a fact. So will your employees be willing to retrain on the more modern technologies and techniques, or are they complacent? So then you need to focus on the culture if you are to be successfully in the digital economy that we are in today. Second is about modern solutions. It is necessary for your business, for it to be successful, for it to be competitive, for it to be at par, the likes of the Facebook, the likes of startups. It's important for you to appreciate and use modern technologies. like cloud computing, like mobile-enabled technology, rather than the old mainframe technology of the past. The third, innovation. So it is necessary for you to develop an edge innovation function. Traditionally, organizations have been having a research arm of the business. You can convert those research arm business to be innovation arm of the business, to keep on looking further and try to create this future. And remember, you've said you cannot create the future if you cannot imagine it, right? You cannot create the future if you're not creative. You cannot create the future if you're not innovative. So innovation function is very important for you to be successful in this digital era. Fourth, and not the last, is transformation. You might say, okay, fine, in my business setup, I have some of the core businesses which I run today, which I don't see how technology can come and maybe evolve those business models to the next level. So how do you ensure you have a transformation agenda even into the core business today? So you need to ensure you evaluate your core business today, those which you might see as if they are your core and you don't want anyone to touch, including encouraging the innovation team to come to your core services and even challenge the status quo. Sorry? And even challenge the status quo. You can even have solutions which can cannibalize your existing traditional business model. Very important for that to happen internally than a disruptor or a startup to come from externally to come and disrupt your core. So transformation is very key. So next, levels of digital transformation maturity. So we have defined a couple of terminologies. We have appreciated the pace of change as far as digital is concerned. We have also appreciated what we need to do as far as digital transformation is concerned. But do you know at which stage your organization is at in the level of digital transformation maturity? So I'll try to give you a snippet of the four and what each entails so that you can gauge yourself. After this, I'll pose the questions to you or to a few of you to tell me at which stage do you believe or do you feel your organization is at as far as digital transformation maturity. Number one, beginner. And even before I go to explain about beginner, let me give you some 3 key aims of digital transformation. In your organization, as you undergo digital transformation, bottom line, there are usually 3 key aims you need to achieve. Number one is customer centricity or customer centric. The client has to be the focus in each and every conversation that you're having. It implies adopting each and every day based on their customer's need. So if your business model does not appreciate the customer and the over-changing customer needs, then digital transformation agenda needs to be fully focused on in your organization. The second key aim in digital transformation is omnichannel. Omnichannel means you might have ability to offer your product and services online. So omnichannel means you need to offer across multiple channels, be it your applications, be it your website, be it multiple online channels, maybe social media presence, how you distribute your product and services. That is omnichannel. You need to ensure you're present across all these channels. And the third key aim of digital transformation is data intelligence. Remember, as I mentioned the story about Circuit City and Amazon. Amazon was able to beat Circuit City because of data and intelligence, because they're able to know your preference based on the data they collect. They can track and follow you across each and every item you try to purchase in different online presence, and you'll find yourself getting recommendations the more you land into Amazon Web Service websites. So that is data intelligence. Decision making should no longer be based on intuition. Should be based on intelligent decision based on data. So the more data you collect, the more it enables you to make some sound decision. Cool. So let's go into the levels so that we can appreciate where you are as a business. Beginner. So from a beginner perspective, you might, business just started out of digitization, which maybe has hardly developed their digital channels. So maybe you might heavily be a consumer of the social media, but are not really pushing your products in the market through those channels. You might have an application, but the application is not doing anything for you. You just developed for purpose of developing, but there's no structure to power and support that tool. If you are that organization, then you're a beginner. The second level is intermediate. So from an intermediate perspective, you have a bit of application, right? You've developed your application. You have some bit focus on being customer-centric organization, but all these applications are half developed. They haven't really reached the expectation of the business. And worst to note is customers cannot get seamless experience across your different digital channels. So if you have an application, the experience will be different. If you have a physical store, the experience will be different. If you're present on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on web, customer will get different experiences based on the different channels that you have as a business. And you are not using any data to make any sound decision. If you're that organization, then you are intermediate. The third is advanced. And advanced, business with advanced level of digitization carry out many transformation initiatives, which allows them to conduct a digital culture and organization. All of your digital channels are completely developed. You have seamless experience. If I go to your application, if I go to your physical store, if you have a WhatsApp channel, and many other channels, the customer will get seamless experience. You are trying also to use data to make some decision, but you haven't really gone further to personalize experience across those a couple of digital channels that you have. So the only thing that you are lacking from an advanced level is thorough mining of the data that you have so that we can personalize your customer experience. If you meet that definition, then you are an advanced level as far as digital transformation maturity is concerned. And the last, not the least, is expert level. Now, from an expert level, everything is green. Like the definition for advanced, we just copy-paste it. The only thing expert level is doing now better is what advanced level person is not doing. Remember I mentioned about data, that from a data perspective, you have some bit of data, but you're not mining data and use it to personalize user experience. Now, at the expert level, you are doing that. The likes of Facebook, the likes of Amazon, and etc. You go to their channels, everything is seamless, and even they are going even beyond to ensure the data they have about you, they can even personalize and have unique experience crafted for you as a user. If you're that type of an organization that you are at expert level, or you meet that definition, then you are at the expert level. Great. Now into the agenda of today. How many are excited about this topic? How many are excited about this topic? Is the background important before you go into this topic? Great. But before you go there, let's go back. I will pose a question. How many organizations can comfortably position themselves as beginners? None. Great. Intermediate? We have one there. Intermediate? Another one here, another one. Great. Thanks for being honest. Advanced? Great. I see a couple there. Advanced? Advanced? You are more there. Expert. Who are the experts in the room? We clap for you. Who are the experts in the room? Okay, there's none, but I believe you've understood the journey on how you can take yourself to the expert level. Key to note, if you don't transition quickly, remember I mentioned in digital economy, the biggest challenge or the biggest issue you should be dealing with is your imitators. And they always come with new innovations each and every day. So if the more you stay complacent and you don't keep on transitioning yourself from one level to another and think about creating the future, then you might be, again, transition maybe from good to great, again, maybe finally to gone. Good, so let's go into today's main agenda, which is steps in the journey towards digitizing your business. Great. Digitizing your business. What does digitizing your business mean? One person to attempt, then I proceed. Digitizing your business, what does it mean? Just any attempt. Digitizing your business, what does it mean? More digital. Second attempt? Perfect. Remember we mentioned about when we define digital transformation, it was a coordinated effort, coordinated change effort at scale, right? And remember you mentioned digital transformation is not technology. It has got to do with a bit of technology, yes, but people, processes, culture, mindset, and etc. So digitizing your business is equivalent to digital transformation. So there's a difference between digitizing your business. Don't confuse it with digitizing a process within your business. When you're digitizing a process within a business, yes, now you can focus on tools. You can focus on digital technologies. Remember we said about digital technologies, they provide an enablement around your business models and your processes. So if you're focusing on just a small process, that cannot be called digital transformation. You can say you're digitizing a process. When you're digitizing your business is equivalent and directly related to, you must have a digital transformation agenda, which cutters across people, process, mindset, culture, innovation, etc., etc. So today, digital transformation is the number one risk, right? Digital transformation is the number one risk or number one concern across each and every organization, including organizations like yourselves. Sad to note, you can even take a note of that, it's 70% of all digital transformation initiatives do not reach their goals. Why? Do you need to know why digital transformation do not reach the goals? Anyone who wants to know why digital transformation or 70% of all digital transformation initiative do not reach their goals? Anyone wants to know? I think all of you. So I'll just turn it up to saying, instead of focusing on why they fail, why can't we focus how you can succeed? Will that be important? If you focus on how you can succeed in your digital transformation, rather than focusing why this 70% fail, I believe that is so important, okay? But remember, if you fail in following these steps, it's the inverse of failure. So if you need to know why your organization fails, as far as not achieving their digital transformation agenda, focus on how you can be successfully. So the vice or the opposite to doing that, then you fail. Cool. So let's proceed. Number one, you need to craft your business strategy before you invest in anything. Is that not profound? Just simply crafting your business strategy before investing in anything can easily turn out to be not amongst the 70% digital transformation initiative which fails. So again, remember when we talked about digital transformation, it's not about technology. So when it comes to crafting a business strategy, so it means that the business strategy needs to be broader from a business perspective, needs to go beyond technology and focus on people again, culture, right? Processes, right? Innovation, and etc. And I can use an example for you to appreciate what this means depending on the industry that you come from. Let me use a manufacturing organization. So a manufacturing organization might have one of their business strategy maybe to reduce their production lead times, or maybe to increase the speed to market, or maybe to improve the use of data into its supply chain system. So if you look at that, That one has nothing to do with the technology, but to some extent has a lot to do with the digital transformation agenda. So why is it important for you to craft a business strategy before you invest in anything? Traditionally, the moment you have a challenge in your business, people tend to focus on a certain technology, right? You have a business challenge, maybe touching on a certain process, you have a technology in mind. Now, the more you focus on a certain technology to address some of the business processes issues without having a business strategy in mind, that is number one reason that you're going to fail. Because you'll be focusing on technology and technology and technology. And you'll, at the end of the day, you'll fail. So how would that a manufacturer like those examples which I mentioned can do? Maybe to reduce production lead times. Investing maybe in tools and systems which can automate some of the manufacturing process. Maybe increasing time to market, investing in procurement tools which taps into real-time data from distributors, from supermarkets, so that each and every product which is being manufactured has a direct connotation and visibility of the requirement and demand in the market. And then when you use this data, it means you become more intelligent around how you can continuously improve your production lines. Number 2, leverage insiders. So when it comes to leveraging insiders, there's a term I usually find it to some extent is being abused, for lack of a better word. The word is best practices, right? Now, from a best practice perspective, organizations tend to approach outsiders, or outsiders as far as consultant is concerned, who come into organizations and tend to apply one-size-fits-all solutions in the name of best practices. Thank you. In the name of best practices. So how do you ensure you forgot that and ensure your digital transformation agenda is successful? So you need to rely on staff internally who have some intimate knowledge of what works and what doesn't work in your daily operations. And if you fail to do that, then it means you'll be one of those organizations who can possibly fall into the 70% digital transformation project which fails to realize their goal. It's important to tap on to leverage on the insider, and to some extent, begin also to do, you can even do an assessment, right? If you're undergoing a business transformation agenda, have some, SWOT analysis. Identify strengths and weaknesses of your staff, and position them accordingly to ensure they play and they be part of your digital transformation agenda. The more you leverage on inside, and then you ensure now this consultant work together with your insiders to ensure that when they are recommending some of the digital tools or solutions, then you don't have any gap to realize your business transformation agenda. Number 3, design customer experience from outside in. The same way you are leveraging on insiders based on point number 2, this is more the inverse. Design your customer experience from outside in. Outside in means you focus on customers. How many directly deal with customers in the market? How many organizations directly deal with customers in the market? Literally everyone. So it means you need to focus on the customers. Get to understand them, to define your strengths and weaknesses from their perspective. Identify what they need from your organizational perspective. Have an in-depth input from your customers for you to know exactly where you need to do as far as your digital transformation agenda is concerned. And once you do that, then you can be able now to break down what is supposed to be done into some processes, some phases, how you can alter some business process internally. If you have multiple tools supporting your business process as far as your customer is concerned, the more you know the interface or information coming from your customer as far as their suggestion is concerned, then we can begin now to tweak some processes bit by bit until you realize your entire digital transformation agenda. Number 4, recognize employees' fears of being replaced. Very profound. When employees perceive that the digital transformation agenda could be a threat to their jobs, then they may consciously or unconsciously resist the change. And most of the time, if the digital transformation then turns out to be ineffective, management definitely will eventually do what? Abandon it. And the moment the management abandon it, who will be happy? Those staff whose roles or jobs were at risk based on their perspective. So how do you ensure you recognize employees' fears of being replaced? Ensure there's clarity across each and every touch point around the digital transformation agenda in your business. How it affects the staff, and what you can do is something else I mentioned. Do a SWOT analysis. Try to identify your staff's strengths and weaknesses. So if somebody has a fear that they're going to be replaced by any digital transformation agenda in your organization, the more you identify their strengths and weaknesses, now you can reposition them. Maybe as part of your digital transformation agenda, you have some requirement of some staffs based on their qualities and their skills is concerned. Begin to position them. The more you reposition them in your digital transformation agenda, then that's how they plug in and push your digital transformation agenda until you realize your goals. And the last, bring Silicon Valley startup culture inside. Very profound. So Silicon Valley startups are known for their agile decision making. They are known for rapid prototyping, and also they are known for flat structures. Those three things. Agile decision making, rapid prototyping, and flat structures. Are you able to accommodate such kind of a mindset in your organization? Are you in a siloed way whereby before a decision is made, you have tiers and tiers of people who are supposed to be, approved before a simple decision is made? If you are such kind of an organization, then you need to transition and try to adopt and bring Silicon Valley startup culture inside. I'm sure you have seen it even in Safaricom. There's an agile mindset conversation, agile framework, which is trying to be pushed across different business functions. That is exactly to ensure we bring a Silicon Valley startup culture inside. This means changes need to be made provisionally, and they can be adjusted as and when required. This means decision can be made very quickly. And then the more you do a startup culture, it means you have some teams which can easily get involved in your businesses to chart a way as far as a certain agenda is concerned. The more hierarchical you are, the more you lose on this point, and the more you lose in the steps towards, in the journey towards digitizing your business. Great. So let's go how Safaricom can help you so that we wind it up, and then I come to you for, remember I'd given you 4 questions. Now I need you to add me more questions, and then I give you an exam. Right, so how can Safaricom help you in this agenda as far as digital transformation is concerned? I'll just brush it through. Let me pull all of them here. So from a Safaricom perspective, we are always been known as a connectivity provider. We have always been known as a GSM provider. For few enterprise organizations like yourself, maybe know us in these different touch points. So as far as your digital transformation agenda is concerned, remember I mentioned digital transformation is not about technology. But to some extent, the moment you have addressed your people, your processes, your mindset, your culture, your innovation, then you need also to consider how you manage your setup in your organization. So if you are such an organization who predominantly have applications or system hosted in a physical data center environment, and you want to transform and transition your organizations to cloud, then Safaricom can come in and help you on that. Today, we are one of the advanced tier partner of AWS Cloud. One of the example, you can even go and Google for free if you are not aware about it. Go and search AR, insurance, great migration. You will see my face, and you'll see the story. I led that project whereby Air Insurance was one of our first customers in the country to fully migrate their data center to AWS Cloud. So if you have such kind of unique requirement, feel free to engage us on any cloud computing conversation. Cybersecurity, again, as you undergo your digital transformation agenda, security becomes paramount. If you don't have internal skill set to support your agenda as far as how you can secure your business from your online presence, remember I mentioned that the more you go to expert level, the more it means you are using data intelligence tools. Your systems maybe are digitally native, they're hosted in cloud, and to some extent the business might say and ask you then how secure are you as a business. What it will mean to your business that any cybersecurity event to your business can easily crumble your business and even transition your business from from good to great to gone by simply a cybersecurity incident. So Safaricom can come in and also help you as a business to ensure from a cybersecurity perspective you are covered. IoT, or Internet of Things. You might be in a business whereby you need maybe an automated way of different items in the field to communicate to your, your backend, or to communicate to one another. Be it a vehicle, be it a smart meter in the field, be it any other mobile device which needs to, push its data to your production system so that we can mine this data and make some sound decision. You can be maybe in the water industry. You can be in the insurance industry and many other industry. So with the Internet of Things, we have various solutions which you can plug in into your business to realize your business objective or to realize your business digital transformation agenda. So I'll just brush it through. Digital interaction, interesting. Digital interaction means we can come into your organization. Once you have done an assessment around your business and you feel some of the tools which are supposed to ensure you have that omni-channel. Remember, you mentioned the key aims of digital transformation is customer centricity. We have also mentioned about omni-channel. And finally, we've also mentioned digital data intelligence. So you might say, I already have a strategy in place, but I need to invest in some of these digital tools, but they're not present in the market. I want somebody to come and appreciate my requirement and to develop this application from scratch. So that is digital interaction. We can come in as Safaricom, understand your application's requirement, and build applications for you. Digital interaction also goes beyond just developing. You could be saying you have multiple tools or systems internally, or which needs to connect to other tools externally. A good example is, maybe as part of your business process, you want some integrations maybe to payment service provider like M-Pesa and many others. And you don't want to hire internally, or you don't want to have dependency on other third parties who are not maybe, fully fledged service provider. So you can come in as well on that front and help you to integrate your platform and system to M-Pesa and many other interactions. A good example in this, again, I'm one of the lead back in 2017 when I think 2017, yes, 2017, when our SGR Madaraka Express train service came in the country. Anyone who remembers how you're supposed to book or how you are booking for your tickets then? Anyone? So how people were supposed to, or how Kenyans were booking for tickets then, you're either supposed to go where? To the terminus or to any stations, physically to book for your ticket. So through our digital interaction space, we went in, built an online ticket booking platform powered by web and mobile, USSD, to ensure the comfort of your home. You can just dial and book for your train tickets. That project also I was the one who led, and it was powered through Safaricom. Great. I want to leave you this quote, which is partially mentioned in the beginning, which is, I mentioned, company fails to do what? Let's read aloud. Let me read for those who are online. Let me read for those who are online. So the last quote which I need to leave you with is, company fails to create the future, not because they fail to predict it, but because they fail to imagine it. It is creativity and curiosity that they lack, and not, I remember you are struggling to pronounce this word. It is perspicuity or perspicuity. Perspicuity is more of like understanding, clarity. It's not like we lack clarity on what needs to be done, but we lack creativity and curiosity. Thank you for the session. Maybe now I open up room for some questions, which should be coming from your side. Anyone has a question? You can use the mic for the people also online to appreciate what you are asking.
So if the org structure is not there yet, maybe you're in beginner stage, even intermediary, do you need to have like a champion? Is it a top-down kind of sort of thing to do, or to just sort of, because I know there's a cultural shift that has to happen. What have you seen that has worked?
So maybe one question. Is it for an existing organization or a totally new organization?
No, existing organization.
Okay, that's fine. Let me also inherit and borrow some best practices, even what is happening in organization. So
yeah, I was going to say, give us a Safaricom example.
That's fine. The short and simple answer, don't boil the ocean, right? So start small, iterate quickly, learn from the changes that you are doing in the business, and then keep on iterating. Remember the startup culture? The Silicon Valley startup culture. So if you are a well-established organization like ourselves, you can't say from tomorrow you need to transition from hierarchical to an agile organization. You have to know where do you need to start. And where you need to start is build some squads or some teams which can be a framework or a foundation through which the business can learn. As you go along, then where do you need to keep on tweaking and changing? And you can focus on if, as a business, you have some functions which deals with the development of applications and system, focusing on the customer, you cannot begin to collapse and form some agile teams to ensure within the team they're able to understand the customer, fully fledged, run in isolation as far as any decision they need to make, bottom line to realize the customer's ambition. So that if you're supposed to learn from that small team to see how you need to keep on tweaking, then start small, iterate quickly, and then learn from it as you begin now to roll it to the rest of the business.
Okay, but what about from a leadership point of view? Who leads this?
Okay. Now, from a leadership perspective, if you are to go fully agile, so when it comes to agile framework, there are different terminology. You can have maybe a chapter lead, you can have an agile coach, you can have squads. So what we need to do is try to go deeper and understand the agile framework. What are some of the changes on roles which needs to happen? And begin now to ensure if there's training required, also agility, training should be also number one. So if there are people need to appreciate how the agile framework is supposed to learn, you can have across the business, everyone to learn what is agile. Before now begin, so that when you're saying this is a product owner, this is a chapter lead, this is a squad, then people begin to understand and appreciate, okay, what does that mean? What does it mean as far as the changes is concerned from my old role to the new role? Remember I mentioned about the fears of change as far as staff jobs is concerned. So if you don't bake and embed people to appreciate and understand, some decision might look as if people, might resist the change because they are seeing as if they're going to be out of employment. So the more you ensure people get trained, appreciate the agile framework, know what it is, appreciate even some of the roles and the terminologies, then now when you're forming a small team, they'll know the reason also this is a product owner has a product vision. The reason this one is part of a squad, they are in a small unit which they can develop, iterate, quickly make decisions in isolation of many other business functions. Have I answered your question? Good. Another question?
Actually, my question was almost the same, because it goes back how you combat that fear of lose of job. I think the best saying I've ever heard about it is that when a man's salary depends him not to understand, he will never understand. Question.
Okay, I've already answered your question. That's fine, yeah. Actually, in fact, salary is very sensitive. Even as you transition to the agile framework, don't transition and begin to affect people's pocket. Let them appreciate and understand, okay, because when it comes to agile, it's more of like individual contribution. You can define and chart your way, your path. The more the more you accelerate and develop yourself from learning and individual development perspective, so you can have framework on how to empower that. Remember, in an hierarchical framework, most of the time, it is sad to note, the role name defines who you are. True or false? So you are told you are a manager, like for me, I usually see manager enterprise solution. I don't call myself a manager enterprise solution. I call myself a solutions consultant. Because I don't want the role to confine and define my capacity and my capability. So if you go beyond the role definition, and the roles and responsibility defined by an organization as far as HR is concerned, then you begin to transition to be an agile. So it means you can chart your own way forward, irrespective of what the role defines on you are supposed to do. So that is one of the interesting things also you need to check as far as the role definition, how you can inculcate people to appreciate and know themselves, and let them not be defined by what the role told them they're supposed to do. Another question? From this side, I've gotten a couple of questions this side. I need this side.
Yes, I'd like to know how you plug in integrity into this digital transformation, especially when you're looking at into the sense of being intuitive with data and data intelligence. Where does the integrity plug in?
Again, culture. So the integrity will be heavily answered through the culture. The same way when you're hiring, you kind of begin to measure who this person is, what are their capabilities, their strengths and weaknesses. So you need to position people accordingly. And integrity can never be taught. You cannot be told now you need to be like a person of high caliber or high nature of integrity. And how you can keep on affecting people's integrity, start with the culture. What is your culture as an organization? What are some norms in the organization? So what you need to do, you need to continuously look for opportunity to disrupt those traditional way of doing things. Remember, I mentioned about digital transformation is not about the technology. Culture is key, processes are key, mindset, very key. So if you don't have opportunities to keep on accelerating people from changing their culture and their mindset, then that's where you lose it. And how you can do it, you can even have champions internally. You can identify few people who demonstrate that change that you want it to be, in the organization, and let them be the change agent in your organization. So if the CEO said, we are doing this because of ABCD, some few people begin to complain, the change agent will begin to tell them, you guys, you don't know what you're saying, now begin to explain. Now, if you look at that simple explanation at the team's level, people begin to appreciate and understand, if my colleague has understood this email from the CEO or from the HR officer, and can even decompose it to the lowest level for people to appreciate what it all means, it's better than the CEO or the human resource management team keep on pushing information. So identify change agent within your organizations who they can now begin to change and have that ripple effect at the bottom of your business. I don't know if I've answered your question. All right.
Sorry, but it was just with regards to especially who polices the data capture, as you really put it well when you talked about like Circuit City and Amazon. But then we are also in a space where how much data is too much data, and how do you ensure that you as an organization are integral in how you are using that data and how you're actually manipulating that data, even if it's put in the consumer first.
Okay. I get your question. Yeah. So controls. So you need to invest on controls in such a way that, and let me not go technical, but it's more of how do you identify and authorize access to some certain data in your organization. The more you have the right tools to ensure you can keep track on who accessed what, at what time, from where, and what changes did they make to that data, then that is the foundation. So you have to invest on tools to identify and control access to your critical assets, which is data. And also you can do it by ensuring the more you adopt a digital, a startup-like culture, it means the more you have small teams, it's easier to manage a small team than managing the entire organization. So you can have tools which can work at the team level, then you can scale to the rest of the organization. So controls. If you lack tools in terms of how you can, again, manage your control, your identity and access management, again, we can come in from cloud and security perspective to understand the challenges that you have in your business and then plug in relevant tools to realize your business strategy. I think we are on top of the hour, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, we are on top of the hour. Final question?
Okay. Thank you. I'm Manyala from Robi Search Limited. There's a challenge we always have. We develop system and install point of sale and ERP. Mm-hmm. So whenever we do this system and maybe come to somebody's premise, maybe hotel, bar, or even a shop, we realize that employees do not want the technology, they don't want the point of sale, for example. And you realize sometimes it becomes difficult. The owner will want the system to work so that they can curb the stealing, they can manage the paperwork and the transaction, but the employee do refuse. So how can we maybe sort this? And the last question, we also do trends like the one that is currently going on here. We are the one who does that, Robi Search Limited. We do a lot of trends. The big challenge that we have on the Twitter a lot is parody. So how do you deal with the people who assume you are the one, but you're not the real person? Okay. Thank you.
Good.
From Robi Search Limited.
Okay, great. You deal heavily with retailers or supermarkets?
Yes,
Retails. Good question. The answer to that, remember, digital transformation is not technology. The more you focus on technology, the more you lose the staff. The more the staff feels like this technology will be at risk, will be maybe coming, let's say, to disrupt their normal way of doing business, that's how you begin to have issues to do the change. Now, so you need to go beyond the technology. Now, focus on the process, right? Focus on the culture, right? Focus on the mindset. The mindset is key. How can you explain to that person who kind of is resisting that change? Understand why are they resisting this change. Then now work with them, take them through step-by-step explanation. What does this change means to the overall business objective? If they appreciate what this change means, including their bottom line, including their pocket, if you can go to that level, that if these things doesn't happen, maybe traditionally you usually lose X number of revenue over a period of a year, let them also see this loss, if it was not there, it is easy even for at the end of the year to say, let's have a salary increment. But if there is always loss of this revenue, then from a revenue perspective, if the business impacted, then there will be zero salary gain. So it's like trying to walk the journey with the staff, let them appreciate and understand the overall broader business strategy. Remember you mentioned as number one step, as far as steps in the journey towards digitizing your business, is creating a business strategy before you invest in anything. So if an organization continues and invests in a technology, that's where they lose it. But if you forgo technology and start with creating this business strategy, let the user, let each and every member of the organization appreciate what it means to the organization. Before now you say, where can we tweak? Maybe even some of the solutions do not require technology. It's just mindset tweaking and mindset changing, then to ensure that user or that staff appreciate why they need to be, to change their mindset and to change their culture as far as how they support the business. And I think at this juncture, is there a final burning question before we call it a day? So that I don't close and miss a burning question. If there's no any other question, Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending this session. We can continue with this conversation. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm usually very active on LinkedIn, Evan Stinger. Follow me on many other social media channels. If it's Twitter, at Evan Stinger. You'll not see me in Facebook posting anything, but I'm there, Evan Stinger. So anywhere, Evan Stinger, you'll find me heavily on LinkedIn. Thank you, and have a nice afternoon.